Hello friends, my name is Magic Cake and it's Halloween! Candy, costume, spooks, it's by far my favorite holiday of the year. So to celebrate, I got a little tutorial for you guys. But since I'm a little short on time, I'm gonna list the things you need as I go. So let's just skip to step 1, making the ghosts. You will make the charms out of polymer clay. This really convenient stuff you can get in any color at the store, shape it into whatever you wish, and then bake it in the oven. It's as simple and awesome as that. It doesn't even dry out on ya. So the colors you will need today are black, orange, red, yellow, light blue, light pink. Since I only had really light pink and then hot pink, I combined some of the two to make a new shade of pink that I liked. Some polymer clay friggin' cool, and white. The things you will also need to help cut and shape the clay is a toothpick and an X-Acto knife, or whatever will help you with this step. Let's start with Blinky. Using your X-Acto knife, cut off the smallest section of your red clay and condition it. Conditioning is when you knead the clay up so it's nice and soft when you start working with it. Or at least, that's what I think conditioning the clay means. Anyway, roll it in between your hands to form a little ball and then shape your ghost. It's good to have a reference picture to look off of and just kind of go from there, because I'm not so good at describing how I shaped it really well. It's more of a thing you gotta feel, but I'll do my best to show you how I did it anyways. I started off by rolling the ball on one end with my finger onto the paper to make the shape of that dot candy. You know, the sticky bit. Then to make the bottom of Blinky, I used a toothpick on the bottom part and pushed across to make a decently sized indent along the bottom of Blinky. Then I repeated this step, except this time I laid the toothpick perpendicular to the first indent, making a crisscross type thing along the bottom. Looking a bit more like a ghost now, huh? Well, the bottom still looks a little funky, so I smoothed out the intersection with my finger. Looking good, except it's way too big against my wrist, so I'm gonna cut it in half and do it again. There, that looks better. Next, repeat this process for the next of the ghosts, being Pinky, Inky, and Clyde. I also kind of pinched the edges between my pointer finger and thumb to make the points a little pointier. Step 2, making Pac-Man. Get a ball of yellow clay and squish it just a little bit, and then pinch the edges so that you get a shape of a Skittle, my new favorite candy. Then cut out an extra small pizza slice out of your extra large Skittle. I must be hungry today. Then pick up your piece and pull on the gap so it widens to the desired size. Step 3, hiding eyes loops. Take a small ball of white polymer clay and cut it in half to have 2 even smaller pieces that are the same size. Take one of those, roll it into a circle, and press it onto where you want Blinky's eye to be. Then press it down while shaping it into an oval onto the ghost. Use the other half to do the same thing with the other eye. Now take a tiny circle of small clay, smaller than you think you need, and press it down to where you want Blinky to be looking. Put on another one and you got a completed Blinky. Repeat these same steps with Pinky, Inky, and Clyde. It's optional because Pac-Man doesn't really have eyes in the original, but I decided to put some in to be like that 80s style Pac-Man, mostly because it vaguely reminds me of the 3D one that I played as a kid. I did this by using pretty much the same technique as making Pac-Man himself, but without the Skittle shaping part and on a much smaller scale. Next, you can make your very own eye pins with these supplies: round nose pliers, wire cutters, and 20 gauge wire. Cut out 5 pieces of about 1 inch of wire. Then take your round nose pliers and bend the wire in half 90 degrees like this. Okay, then wrap your wire ends back around the round nose pliers so that the end rolls back up to the middle, and just make a loop, alright? I'll put a link to people who can explain it better, just don't hate me. Next, stab Blinky through the head with your loop so that the loop sticks out and ow, Blinky! Repeat this with the rest of the loops for Pac-Man, Pinky, Inky, and Clyde. Now that your charms are complete, they are ready to bake. Step 4. Baking! For this, you will need a pan to bake on. I'm using a pizza pan because round pans don't typically buckle when put under heat, and a piece of paper because polymer clay doesn't stick to paper and paper doesn't catch fire in an oven, at least not in the ones I've used. Put your pieces of paper on the pan and toss it into a preheated 275-degree oven, or whatever temperature the polymer clay tells you to bake it at, for about 15 minutes, or whatever amount of time the polymer clay package tells you to bake it at. Remove them from the oven and let the charms cool. Step 5. Adding the bracelet. If you don't have a bracelet chain, you can make one with a chain, a metal clasp, flat nose pliers, and some small jump rings, along with your round nose pliers. To make the bracelet chain, cut off a length of chain, oh yeah, you also need a wire cutter, and attach the clasp to it by gripping a jump ring in one pair of pliers and twisting it open with another pair of pliers, like that. Thread the open jump ring onto one end of your chain, and then also the clasp, and then grip your jump ring and twist it shut again with the other pair, like that. Do the same thing for the other end of your clasp, and you should now have a functional bracelet just begging to be adorned with spooks. Next, lay down your bracelet and all the charms in the spots where you want them to go, and put jump rings on all of those spots. But before you string them on, I forgot one thing that's good to do. Super glue. My old foe. Take pliers and twist and pull out the loop from Pac-Man's head and spread a little super glue on the long part of the loop, then put it back in. Then do the same thing for the rest of the charms. This will ensure that the charms won't fall out of their loops. Or at least I hope. Now it's time to make the charms all shiny. For this you will need some type of glaze. I'm using diamond glaze because I ran out of triple thick. You will also need toothpicks and a piece of foam to stick them in. Push the charms onto a toothpick and then paint the shiny onto the charms, then push the ends of the toothpicks into the foam to dry. After the charms are dry, it's time to put them on the bracelet. So just do the same thing you did for making the bracelet, just use the jump rings and pliers and hook all the charms onto the bracelet. And then you're done! And it looks awesome! And now you can have some ghostly accessories to have on your own for the Halloween season. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some very important ghost-busting business to take care of myself. I'll see you next time, friends. Bye. This video is dedicated to my favorite British friend Gemma. Thanks for spending Halloween with me for the last 8 years and always making this holiday so special. Smiley face.